Okay, hello everyone, and I'm here to continue our Uber GPS guide. And the main, I will try to make it very fast because our previous guide was lasts like one one 1 hour and more. And for now, I can tell you just summarized things, and that is already that you can already sum up out of my videos that I did show already, but I will just summarize them and make it in a quick and straight way. So if you join our Discord, it is always in the description. You can visit Wikipedia page and make see our summarized my paragraph that I did make like right when I did my Pudilon Flamaura stream, and I did all these explanations. I did make some changes inside them, but they are strictly same right now, and I will go up with this summarized explanations. So conclusion is that if you go and make Uber DPS the best way of achieving your big DPS part of the game, you finally start, and you should visit our Lightning Strikes our tier 1 from 1 million to 40 million Uber DPS stream, Uber DPS guide part 1, and finally you can meet some I don't know, some thoughts that maybe diversities are not best in the game, but first of all I should tell you that my Uber DPS stream was not concerning about what's best diversities or anti, but anti-secta kids were forcing me to prove everyone. I'm not proving anyone anything, but I'm showing mathematical straight thing that you can face that anti is worse. They forced me to make a theme, make a paragraph concerning just about comparison between straight diversities and straight anti build. So I will tell you right now in some surprise paragraph that for sure diversities are better in every single way, and I will tell you just 6 paragraphs why they are better. So let's start. First of all, when you upgrade your when you start game, and if you choose diversity style, it's hard to master, but it increases your play style like heavily. I should start and tell you that I am playing original heroes. I do play with anti. I do have guides concern about. I do have separate accounts that uses anti build, and you can visit my guides that can tell you that I have another account with original heroes only challenge, and you can visit our beginner's guide, and where I do explain what's best, anti or diversity, and I do it's pretty quick, and just to tell you that in conclusion of this is that I do use antis, and for start of the game, when you place lots of flame auras, lots of LSAs, lots of different copies of similar defenses, you can use antis, and they are all fine. But even though anti-secta did use boost aura, for example, in a completely wrong way, because I do recommend to have 2 separate monks, one tank monk, and that you can see in my guides, like more tank, how to deal with strong assassins, and when you have at least one tank monk, and the second monk is for DPS, you can have two different flame auras and two different boost auras. One boost aura is completely pure DPS boost aura, like I show here. And one flame aura should be for sure mass destruction, that strikes, and defense rate, anti-house, anti-melee. I did make anti-melee, anti-house, not anti-melee, anti-orb, because sometimes I do use this flame aura both against heavy melee lanes, heavy land lanes, and against flyer lanes, so it can cover kobolds, the main threat out of flyer lanes, kobolds, same as lady orcs, double anti, like cyborgs and even assassins, like I showed here. So I found optimal mass destruction flame aura with double anti-melee, anti-house. Boost aura and Legislax aura at triple anti. It can be any controller, mini boss, anti melee, something like this. But I did find like this. It's not mandatory, but any triple anti are okay for Legislax aura that is buffing our flame aura and boost aura with destructive pylon and mass destruction. And the second monk, DPS monk, have separate flame aura with double defense rate for frost lanes, anti-melee, anti-frost, and automation at the same time instead of deadly strikes, just because I do use it against Persikaze lanes, do use it against cyborg lanes, and lots of frost lanes do have cyborgs as well. I'm playing original heroes only, so I don't have overpowered reflect beam that can cover with its tenacity everything that stays behind. So this means that its cyborgs are a problem for me. That's why I do use automation and double defense rate. But for most cases on my main account I do use tenacity reflect beam. That means I don't need automation, and I do use deadly strikes here instead of automation for sure. And that's how I built this 300 almost 400 floor, and you can visit and see my original heroes only challenge that I will continue and play my all the way. I am like 400 floors with my original heroes account, and like 300 with my main account right now. And I also have a box account, but it doesn't matter right now. So when you visit and see our DPS guides, that I show you that we have lots of ways to increase our DPS, and after we meet like 9 ways of increasing our DPS, after we meet diversity philosophy, we should change our anti build, like I showed before with my original heroes. We should make completely another philosophy of game, like not to place multiple flame auras if you don't have enough DPS, more LSA, more traps, more flame auras, more fissures, and so on and so on. You will need to make all that way long to just touch and literally touch the best preferences that can give you, that can diversity provide to you. It's very hard because it's 9 ways. It's very costly, but after you do this, you will finally see that it's worth it. And the second thing that I wanted to show you, that I have in our Wikipedia, we have this list with all 9 heroes, database of all traps and towers that can be, and the main priority for me is the lowest cost of DU. This means that you can make 5 better scale of upgrades, like a multiplier is 5 maximum on trap, LSA, and so on, and it's not same as on reflect, but just to show that you can place 20 DU reflect, but it's 40 DU, and it was 50 DU. I think it's scalar same as Skyguard's 50 DU, because they did change cost of reflect beam, lowered by 10 DU, but didn't change upgrade multiplier. But it won't matter because we won't use reflect as our main damage dealer, and the main category is ethereal. So either this trap, knot, or aura can be placed inside heavy boost aura, and we can upgrade it, and don't fear that our 500 crystals will disappear if let's say we upgrade 5 times our cannonball, and some flyer lane will or kamikaze or cobalt will drop it, or any ranged unit, or any single speed of any unit on high floors will destroy your cannonball or any non-ethereal defense. That's why we should focus mainly on ethereal traps, ethereal towers, and with the lower cost. And let's see how many towers we can focus on. It's for sure trap, LSA. Oil is very bad. Reflect is nerfed 5 times. It can do damage, but it's not the main priority. Oil is heavily capped with 1.5 attack rate, and it cannot be. It can do damage, with 3 times diversity, but it's more support right now because its damage is capped by attack rate. Sense of Mystic is the same story as Oil, is heavily capped attack rate. Dummy is not doing damage if you don't have cumulator on it, and so on. And tree, no. Coil is we can take consideration to coil, and probably I will talk about it later on, but not now, and it's not non-ethereal. So trap and LSA from this, from 20 DU category, and 30 DU category. Geyser is capped with awful attack rate cap. Flame Aura, yes. Proton, yes, by the way. But for now we use Proton as our support with Destructive Pylon. My further guides will show you some interesting facts about Proton, that it can do heavy damage, but not for now. So Flame Aura and Embermouth Flames. Dryad's Hornets are good, but they are not multi-target. Like for this category should make AoE crowd killers. Yeah, so Hornets are not good for this, but they are good still, and we should all remember that I did have like long before already video with 555 million DPS on Hornets, and I can't find them. Yeah, 555 million DPS on our beast, and this is with nothing house 8 upgraded, not fine-tuned, and so on. So for sure beast can do huge damage, and but as well as Proton, but they are not multi-target. Arcane Barrier and all other are non-ethereal and cannot do much damage. Like Cannonball can do damage for sure, especially for rollers. Or can do damage just for lols. I should can show you DPS, almost 1 billion DPS of all blockades, so it sometimes can do damage as well, blockades can do damage as well. So we have 4 main DPS sources right now that we focus. We take in mind that we can check coils, that we can check proton, that we can recheck reflect. Somewhere on the higher floors like to fine-tune it, but for now we have Trap, LSA, Flame Aura and Embermouth Flames. And Flame Aura and Embermouth Flames are literally the same. Some of you can use overcapped Embermouth Flames for frost lanes and so on, but most of time we do use Flame Aura, LSA, and that's our 4 defenses: Trap, LSA and Flame Aura, common. So let's continue. If we choose, we make all 9 paragraphs. We should make diversity philosophy, and if you choose between anti-build or diversity, first of all, I should tell you that I already had an DPS stream where I did show everything. You can find it in all videos somewhere in the end. 2 billion flame aura, and you can visit and see that starting from philosophy, right from philosophy, if you play more copies philosophy, like more flame aura, if you are lack on damage in anti-philosophy, you just put more flame auras, more Emberman flames, more LSAs, more traps, and so on. But the more copies you place, you lose damage, and that's the main priority why diversities are good. And I did show this inside my billion flame aura inside my Uber DPS stream already. So if you, I did place different ways of 280 DU, and summarized all the DPS coming out from trap, issue of flame aura LSA, all our 4 main source of damage. Inside diversity, they did 3 billion damage, and when I did more copies of same given LSA flame aura issue traps, they did more, like I did 280 DU, and with these given things, they do more DPS. Diversities do 60% more DPS, like another pro-nerf anti is under to a favor of diversities. So diversities, the more copies you place inside heavy boost node, the less damage you do. So this means that when you place like more copies, like you lose damage up to like minus 60% of damage, like one pro-nerf anti. You do at least, you lose at least one anti when you doing it that way, that most of people are doing, like place more flame auras, place more Emberman fissures. Like I show it at the end of the video, I do place multiple traps, multiple flame auras, multiple Emberman fissures, and a little of crowd control, like in my before. And this everything did less damage, still did less damage than my 280 DU build on the other hand. So feel free to visit my UBTP stream that already contain everything that I did show you. And that's what I can tell you, that first of all, if you make more copies, you lose damage. Secondly, a lot of spreadsheets, like I won't find it right now, but we have in Wikipedia spreadsheet of anti-secta that did enter our Discord, and we are trying to tell us that antis are still better. That's pure math, and I don't know, their game designers told them, or some their god Rex or someone told them that antis are better in pure damage calculations, but it's totally wrong. They did count it with boosted rusts. Boost aura, and that's why I do recommend you to have 2 separate boost auras at least, and one boost aura is pure DPS boost aura, and second boost aura is like boosted grasps, triple range boosted grasps boost aura that can help you killing heavy flyer lanes or high floors. That is just to slow flyers up, like I show in my video here, and it have like it's not made for pure power, and you cannot compare pure DPS comparing the support boost tower with triple range, vicious, deadly, and defense range, and just power inside that can make comparison irrelevant. So let's continue. So if you place, first statement is that if you place more copies, you lose your damage. And second point is that when inside diversity philosophy, you place everything diversified, like I will show you here. So for now I'm making like huge tons of videos. I can show you that we have lots of videos, like this floor of my second account. I have lots things to tell you, to show you, and I will show you finally. And some of them show that on some statements I do change some of my build, like I will show you here. Like I switch, sometimes I switch to trap. For now I did switch to trap, overcap trap with my defense, that I will show that now. And I will place all these spotlights and showcases how I beat different flames, different lanes, different floors in further. Before this floor I was playing with Dryad, and you can find my Yevlamon build on slot guides, like at my channel, and Yevlamon build itself that did explain that I can use either Huntress or Dryad and so on and so on. So for now I did swap my build for 20 to 200 defense units, and I have Flame Aura with mass destruction, 4 flyer lanes, and everything diversities. And as you can see, every single defense have diversities, and it's pure damage. But I still have some crowd control. I wanted to show you that it's not like a build that can kill 99 floors and so on. But I can show you possibilities of diversity stack multiplicators that can make 2 billion flame aura and so on. So if you make it in the right way, you can make huge numbers. Maybe that can maybe kill every single enemy itself without any crowd control, even so that we can see further on. For pure DPS Gustaura, I'm not using Skyguard. Someone asked me what's the best Skyguard. I said the best Skyguard is Flame Aura, so you don't need Skyguard at all. And triple diversity LSA, pure Proton Beam is Proton Beam, like I said, can do some damage. It did have a good upgrade multiplier, but for now we use it with destructive pylon, and double defense rate means that it's pure support. Pure support reflect beam. I did upgrade it just to make good DPS stream for comparison, because it don't have any diversity mods that we can count. Double defense rate reflect beam, and buff beam is absolutely the same as Boost Aura. Destruction repeated boosted grasp, boosted beam, critical damage, reverse power, reduce critical damage. And weapon manufacturer is another destructive pylon just for flyer lanes. Right now I use the weapon manufacturer just for flyer lanes, and that's all. And Kusikaze lanes, yeah. And I do use overcap defense rate trap that is very heavy because of firefall effect, and because of that it can be upgraded 5 times. And Pierce, so reduce critical chance, reduce critical damage, PDT. Sometimes you can use explosive poison instead of vampiric empowerment, but I do prefer most of the time I do need pure damage, like for Kusikaze lanes and so on for my poison dart tower. And second mass destruction goes for Pishua, and the essential is Emblem Flames that burns secta fixed point so much, and I will tell you something about this later on. So mass destruction, defense rate, mouth of the Earth Drake is just for my training dummy. It's accumulator 42 downgrade. Crumbling Stones, by the way, is very good shard. It sometimes helps you a lot, especially with roller lanes. Well Gather, double defense rate, support, and Volcano just for fun. So right now I'm using a build that I will show later on. Solo build. I'm alone here for right 200 defense units, and I don't use like LSA as my main damage dealer. So my main damage dealer, as you can see, right from all this is only my Ember Flames. So 200 DU, and I already have Ember Flames, like 40 million DPS, and pretty solid LSA that I can upgrade all at once, and we shall talk about this right here, right now. And when I have my when I have kept ancient powers, when I joined with my three laptops, and I have minimum tier 1 Ember for sure 15.6 million, but it's only solo build, means that I don't have mass destruction sound above beam, don't have mass destruction sound inside my boss tower, and so on. So I will tell you in this video that I can boost my build with 200 defense units heavily, but for now, for solo build, it's pretty good. 47 million, almost 50 million DPS for sure. With Embermount Flames, I remind you that even if some strong enemy or some boss comes through this, he still will be burning for 15 million damage per second. So if it comes like 10 seconds until my crystal, so it will get 500 million damage. And plus he will take some billion, maybe 500 million damage already, and that's huge, and that's already that can kill every single lane, and it's solo build. I remind you that 50 million is achievable by any one of you, that I do have to double mass destruction, and first mass destruction goes to Embermount Flames for sure, and absolutely mandatory to have Embermount Flames mass destruction. And second is for Flame Aura. I do advise you to use it in Flame Hours, and sometimes we can switch this lane to 100 DU, like I show here, for Trap and Flame Aura. Let's say it will be like Frost lane. I have overcap trap that can kill frost lanes, and flame aura for flyer lanes, let's say. So it can be flyer lane plus frost lane at the same time, coming from one node, and we still can have. But unfortunately, sometimes we can have no Enderman flames. I do advise to always have Enderman flames inside build. Either you make it Enderman flames with flame aura, either you make Enderman flames with trap, like I show here is for frost lanes. For some frost lanes you can use this build. Like Enderman flames is not overcapped, but trap is overcapped, and trap can burn and will burn. I will show lots of videos where trap is burning already. It's overcapped, it's burning enemies. Oh, by the way, I can show you right after this video. And sometimes you can use flame aura and Enderman fissures. It will be 210 DU, but for flyer lanes, both flyer lanes and land lanes as well. Sometimes you can use just Enderman flames 180 DU. So you can choose, and that's all. With double mass destruction you can use this for a build, but LSA and trap shouldn't have. So you can choose mass destruction. You have only 2 mass destruction, then you are choosing between either flame aura, Endermount, trap, and LSA. So I do recommend you to use it inside Endermount and flame aura for flyer lane mostly, because you can of course place it inside LSA or trap, but LSA and trap have already 3 times diversity. LSA it's already heavy with vampiric, and trap have fire 4 effects, and it's already heavy, and with double overcap it's already heavy and pretty fine. So I do recommend you to use double mass destruction inside double mass destruction inside flame aura, Enderman flames and flame aura. And right here I would like to show you that if I replace my Uber Boost Aura and Uber Buff Beam with my another person, like in a team, that I can have Enderman flames not with 50 million, but already with 150 million. So it's triples its damage. Like if and I will use it inside my journey, I will use it for sure. But I will have mass destruction separate for buff beam, mass destruction separate for boost aura, and mass destruction for Ember Flames, mass destruction for flame aura, mass destruction for LSA, mass destruction for trap, and so on and so on. So if you place everything fine-tuned, like I did show in my Uber DPS stream, you will have literally unreachable DPS for any anti-builds, and you can upgrade them like 150 million. So let's continue. If you choose this style, you make 200 defense units and you place just one Ember Flame that is already doing 150 million, and you cannot make it with any copies of Ember Flames. So that's already it. So more copies, you lose damage. The second point is that upgrade crystal problem. When you upgrade something, you get you have not very much amount of crystals, and I did show it inside my Let's Make Weekly Prime 1 incursion. And after first round, we will have 100 more than 1000 defense units. That is already enough to upgrade 2. So 2 or 3.5 defenses until 2.5 defenses to tier 5. So if you upgrade this, if you have some crystals like at round 2, you can have upgraded only 1 or 2 lanes to tier 5, 2.5 lanes to tier 5, and you can have 150 million DPS or making out of Fissure or Ember Mount. That can be self-sufficient or already. So only this Fissure of Ember Mount, I think, can break most high floor lanes on its own, just solo them, because 2 billion is a cap, hard cap of hit points, and if you have 150 million DPS Ember Fissure right at second round on some lanes, you are already done with it. But you don't have enough crystals inside anti-philosophy, because you have lots of copies that all together are worse than one single copy of Ember Fissure. So if you have let's say one big Fissure in the map with 150 million DPS, and inside anti-philosophy you will have lots of, like, let's say 4 in the map Fissures that in summarized will have same amount of DPS, but you cannot upgrade all of them to tier 5 at second round. But you can upgrade to tier 5 right at second round one given Fissure on some hard lane. That means that you should upgrade every single shadow copy, shadow clone of this Fissure in anti-build. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well, but you can read it here, and that means that inside unique copy diversity philosophy you have literally more upgrade crystal potential. So when you upgrade one given defense, it already contains all of shadow copies that can be inside anti-build, where you can have more copies built. So more copies, you lose not only pure damage, more copies you lose upgrade potential as well, that you cannot upgrade everything to tier 5, and or you can upgrade more. You can just upgrade copies. You can sometimes even upgrade buff beam and boost aura on some nodes that can buff not only Ember Fissure but flame aura with mass destruction, LSA with mass destruction, PDT with mass destruction, trap with mass destruction, and so on. So it can be heavy boost buff node, and so on and so on. So antis, let's continue. Third point paragraph is antis are ready, means that you cannot count pure damage out of antis just as you want, because there are lots of different types of enemies, and if you see carefully, like 3 times diversity, 3 times anti are not working on most of enemies by itself. So if you, let's say, take goblin, it's only anti-goblin, anti-melee, final point. Sometimes we can make anti-controller mode, but most of lanes are headstrong. That's not it's not a problem for diversity, because diversity works everywhere and every time. But sometimes you can have dragon, wyvern that are ranged, and you cannot make 3 times diversity anyhow, because they maybe control anti-ranged, and that's point, because we don't have another anti on them at all. So most of enemies don't have even 3 times antis inside them, and even if you use controller as another type of anti that can be I don't know, placed anywhere, but most of lanes that anti are skipping. That's because they cannot play versus headstrong enemies that we can, because headstrong fears only of pure damage, and diversity is a big damage dealer. But anyways, if we count well, we should count like carefully different lanes, and let's say if we have like 70% that of enemies that will work and work with anti-melee. Let's say it's like half, like 50%, but let's say 70% will work anti-melee, and we'll have 1.6 multiplier here. So 70% are having 1.6 multiplier, means that they will averagely make like plus 42% of damage. So if we have like all enemies, we have like all enemies will make us do 60% more damage. Okay, so if we count like double anti, we will have like 20% of enemies that take extra. I did count for everything with pre-nerf values, and if we have double anti on only 20% of units, and summarized, it will result as plus 30% of damage. If we take 100, we would have plus 1.5% of damage, means that overall we will do resulting we will do like 2.6 2.5 damage. And the last 3x antis that are not working like most of time, and if you place, let's say if we want to place anti-melee, anti-house, anti-orc, that will work against lady orcs, that will work only for lady orcs and cyborgs, anti-melee, anti-house, anti-orc, just 2. You cannot find anyone. And we can have a double anti-melee, anti-orc here. We will have anti-melee and only anti-melee on our frost goblins. Nothing will work on bomb goblin. Only anti-melee, just one will work against goblins, and so on, so on. So if we put even three times the anti, that will mean that we will have only this picture under consideration. So it will have only 3%, like 3%. I don't know. I did take all these numbers in a lax way. You can count it more carefully, but I think the picture will be anyways same. And if we have only 3% of units that will have 4 times damage, we will have plus 9% of damage. Otherwise we would have plus 300% of damage. And we shouldn't summarize them, we shouldn't sum them, because if we have 100 everywhere, we would have plus 500% of damage, but we would need to, because they intercept each other, all of this, so we need to count it carefully. But for now, I do make even sum of all these adding percents of damage, so this will result in plus 80% of damage. If we count an integral of this summarize, weighted sum will result that 3x anti, let's say anti-melee, anti-orc, and anti-house, will result as that it will averagely give us only like double damage. Okay, let's it be like plus 100% of damage, but it's even less. So even pre-nerf values, and now it's plus pre-nerf plus 60% of damage. So I'm not showing you like you cannot use antis. You can use antis just for specific things, but in most cases, you really lack some things that you theoretically cannot make, like lane versus bosses. Like hardest lanes are groups of melee boss, lady orc, frost lane, flyer, ranged boss, kursikazi, vanguards, lava guards. You cannot have 3 times anti on any in any combinations for all these groups of enemies. Flyers are ranged. Flyers have different multipliers like ranged, support, and so on and so on. So sometimes you don't even sometimes it's not even possible to make 3x anti, like in these cases, and you cannot have like you will have always problems versus cannon ogres, like bomb goblins, boss and so on. So you won't have 3 times anti almost in any case. Like you can have only against lady berserkers, and bosses. All bosses are in a separate category out of this, so they won't intercept each other. So 3x anti is working like in 3% of time of cases, and double anti works not very often. So if we count it very well, we will result it like in plus 80% of damage output averagely. So antis are not even giving us 4 times multiplier, but we can count that it can kill us, can give us even this nerf or nerf multipliers that still will be worse. Diversity will still be better. And let's continue. Even 200 diversities are still better, that I did show in my Uber DPS stream and as well. And I have an Uber DPS video that that shows that even 200 DU is still better than diversity. I did put just in this video, I did put absolutely same relic inside absolutely same build. I did just replace 3 times diversity relic with 0. Doesn't matter what we what we have here, but we do count that it's triple anti or double anti here. That's not working everywhere, but multipliers are even lower than these values. So even if you place it in the same way, diversity still do more damage. And the 5th paragraph is multiple lanes. You can have lots of situations where you can have multiple lanes, like I don't know, in big lanes like Lost Temple. You can have 2 double lanes, triple lanes. I don't know if it's possible for quadruple lanes, but I do know that a lot of situations where you have double or triple lanes, and in this case you can have huge tons of DPS, like 2 billion DPS. You can place PDT inside this. You can place ballista. You can place anything you like inside that lane. Double, triple lanes that can earn like 400, 600 defense units or less, but it's completely overkill. Like if inside diversity, if you place more than 200 DU, that's already better than anti, you will have huge tons of damage, and every single copy, every single unique defense will still do a huge amount of damage, but you still can replace like 2 flame hours. Even with diversity, you're still able to place multiple ballistas, multiple cannonballs, multiple traps, multiple flame arrows, and so on with the given defenses. So on multiple lanes, antis are not working, and multiple lanes earns a lot of distance. So if you place in anti-manual, you place lots of like you need to place 10 fissures to overcap my DPS 150 million DPS, but you won't have physical space for this. But inside of heavy boost and buff beam and boost aura, you have just one copy that is huge, and it already summarizes shadow clones of copies of this fissure inside its DPS. So multiple lanes, this are very often, and I will show you lots of highlights of this. I have plenty of content for you, like for 1 year maybe, that have lots of multiple lanes, and that's are completely overkilling enemies. And when you grow in defense units, diversity literally comes brilliant. Like you can make with it, you can make like things like I don't know, 2 billion flame aura easy, and I can. And the main thing that I want to show you that we have crit chance and crit damage. That means that if you look carefully at your crit damage, like inside crit damage, you can have plus added bonus of 300% of damage. Means that 100% of time this lava DPS will do 4 times damage. 4 times. If you look carefully just on these two numbers, crit damage 100% of time, it will do 300 plus 100, 400, 4 times damage. It's already better than 4x, 4 times unreachable 4 times 3x anti stack, just because of this critical damage. So critical chance and critical damage with anti. The main reason that anti guys cannot count well, that is when you swap over diversity, you have oh sorry, not right. When you swap over diversities, you can when you have diversities, you have critical chance, critical damage boosted, and sorry, cannot find it. Okay, so when you even when you have just 200 defense units, items, you will have 100 critical chance, and critical damage is 3.5 times more damage. So this explosive trap will do 3.5 times more damage, and every single critical damage that goes out inside of boost aura, that goes inside of buff beam, are making it more huge and huge. But if you place just anti, you have critical chance 40%, and critical damage lowered by I don't know 100. So means every single time you increase your critical damage, you already have one anti is hidden inside one diverse critical chance. So one diverse critical chance gives you 60% more multiplier on your critical damage that is rising as well with diverse critical damage. So even one diverse critical chance is mathematically more, gives you more, because either you have 40% multiplier on your critical damage, or you have 100% multiplier on your critical damage. Means that you have another per nerf anti already better here. But we can compare like critical damage that is still better. If you stack critical damage, you can have like 4, 3, 4, 5 multipliers on your 500 multipliers on your damage, and like inside of heavy defense units. This, by the way, this flame aura is less than 500 defense units, if I remember well. So if you have multiple lane where you can place like 500 defense units, that will be complete overkill. You don't need even 2 billion, you don't need even 500, half a billion, I think, DPS. But if you have, you will have 7 times more 7.5 multiplier on your critical damage. So critical damage rises and gives you pure DPS. Pure one critical chance, of course, is not rising, but imagine you would have 40% out of all these 7x multiplier without diverse critical chance. So diversities are synergizes with each other and making each huge amount of boosts. That's why I don't even understand how this anti-secta even started all this conversation, making them show that they completely don't understand anything about the game. And the last thing, that if we have diversity philosophy, we will have Embermount Flames, absolutely essential Embermount Flames mod that gives us opportunity to have like sorry, that gives us opportunity to have all the DPS to last almost in infinite time, even after an enemy comes through our defenses. This means that any single enemy will still burn like 1.5 million DPS, even if they last through. And that's the main thing that burns fifth point of anti-secta kits, because they cannot make this, they cannot use this mod because it's not stacking. So you need just one unique copy, very huge unique copy of Fissure that will burn, and it's not stacks, that don't stacks, and that will still burn enemies. And I use diversities just only because of any one paragraph out of these 6. So we have all these 6 paragraphs. That's why diversities are better. But I'm not forcing any one of these kits to use diversities. I'm just showing that you can use great builds. That in further time I will show you how good this build can be. And for example, I will make a video where I show you that I can place like more than 200 defense units on some like holy cats, and we can have main damage dealer just Embermount Flames on 300 floors, and at the end on each of these, while fine-tuned, you can have like absolutely impossible numbers for anti-dreams, like I will show you right now. Like we can have Embermount Fissure with 800 million DPS. So that's the main priority, that you can build diversities, use Flame Aura with great damage potential, use LSA with great damage potential, use Embermount Fissure with great damage potential, use Trapped with great damage potential, and all that in sum will give you like huge amount of diversity possibilities that you can only grow and grow. And inside anti, you are just sitting and cannot win some high floors just because you don't have enough damage. So that's it. As for single builds, I do advise you to use my build that I will separately make another video that I show you that you can have Flame Aura with mass destruction, like I said before, and Embermount Fissure with mass destruction, and that's it. Place 200 defense units, and the only possible defense unit that will give you damage on a lane could be even just one Embermount Fissure. Embermount Fissure with mass destruction like I showed you. If you cover it pretty well with your overcap trap or overcap Flame Aura, it's already enough. Even 180 defense units, it's already enough to win every lane. But I do advise you just this 200 defense units lane that I didn't meet any problem with like 300 floors already, but I'm playing at 4 means that every single lane is headstrong and double and with double hit points, making it literally making literally double floor. So means that I'm already almost at 700 floors and didn't meet any problem just with this flames with 500 half a hundred million DPS, but I can make it triple times more DPS, make 100.5 million DPS, 150 million DPS. And if I place it with my Ultra accounts or your friends with Uber Buff Beam, Uber Bossaur, and so on, so on. So just one #1 Fissure that I upgrade mainly, that kills every single hero, every single enemy. AoE is flame, and with #1 flames is enough to win everything. But of course, it's not a video about builds that will kill 99 floors, but for this you should combine it with watch Yevlamonk 900 slot modificators this video and see my Yevlamonk build anyways as well. In couple of these LSA tier 1 LSA from 1 million to 40 million. So that's all. Thank you for attention, and feel free to join and ask any questions if you like. For now, I really advise you to have to watch these summarizes, and goodbye.